Part two. I hate it. I'm just kidding. I'm not a big fan though. That I will say.
It's different. Yeah, it's a strange vibe.
There's not really anything happening.
Yeah.
It's like suffering.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying so hard to read and my eyes are just closing and I've fallen asleep or I've been nodding off so many times that I'm like, Jesus, maybe it's because I woke up early, but I don't know, man.
It's the daylight savings.
It's just dragging.
I'm like, how is this book of the year? But
Yeah.
I was, you know how we think like, you know, how we were speculating about maybe a man coming into her life or something. We're thinking
Mhm.
about the other dad. But
Mhm.
then I was like, well, who is this investor?
Mhm.
And could they have some romantic thing or and then I was like, or could it be the ex what's the guy's name who died?
Calvin?
Yeah, could it be like his dad is the investor? I don't know.
Oh, that could be it. Because he dropped off all the science books, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's going through a lot of hardship, so it's interesting. I feel like sympathy for her, but I feel like she's also like so stubborn to ask for help. So that's kind of like hard for me to read because I feel like you know the neighbor's offering help, but it took her a while to be able to call.
Mm-hmm. The part I did not like, and I was like, I think it got me a little more interested, was when they were like, "Oh, you're pregnant, you can't be here."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, "Oh, you're pregnant and you're unwed and you're female and like you can't be working." And they're like, "Okay, well, what if Calvin was here?" It's like, "Yeah, nothing would have changed." And it's like, "Oh my gosh!" And that my blood was boiling. I was like, "Ugh." Then obviously I remember that it's like back in the day, but still, I'm like,
That part was really annoying to read.
Mm-hmm.
It was infuriating. Especially because it wasn't even like written somewhere, you know.
It's like I've read everything in the manual. It's like, yeah, but that's just kind of an unwritten rule. It's like that's not right.
And then when they hired her back, she was much lower than her original position too. That also made me mad.
I don't like that. But I feel like it took so long to just get that information that I'm like,
There was a lot of build-up, even the part with the character of Miss Frask, you know, how she hated her so much, and then she also got dissed by the men. But I wish like she would have been more supportive since the beginning instead of being a hater, you know, because then I felt like, okay, well, you're only being helpful because you were spited, or I don't know if that's the right way to say it, you know, like something bad happened to you. So it made me feel like it wasn't as genuine.
And when she remembered that she had a baby, she didn't like Miss Zot because she was desirable amongst the men.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a baby, you're not as much of a threat in her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like the I mean, I know it was different back in the day, but I also it's just not very believable the way they're saying like the dialogue is between the characters, especially like Donati, whatever his name is. I get my literary terms are not the best anymore, but this seems like a huge hyperbole, like over dramatizing the situation in like almost an annoying way.
and I don't know why the dog, like, I don't want to hate the dog because we're not about hating dogs here, but he knows all these words and we get to see his thoughts or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. That's a, the connection with Calvin or whatever, and that's like the one only, not even person, but she sees him as a person that she has
Mm, I have
before.
to comment on that because I talk for Ramon. So it's like it's like the way I saw it is like she's talking for the dog. It's like
Yeah,
what
I
she
can.
would picture. So it's like just like her way of like interacting with someone that's or anything. Cause like I sometimes like when it's just me and Ramon, I'm like would I'll ask him something and I'll respond what I want to hear. So
But
it's
it's,
kind of like a comforting thing, I think.
mm, I can see that. I just feel like it's too much for me. I'm just like,
I can relate. So that's why I was like, okay. Like, thought it was cute. I'm like, I'm not the only one.
mm, yeah,
I think
no.
the stuff with the dog I actually liked, but I don't know. I missed the first part of what everyone was saying, but I find the characters to be very one note,
Mhm.
and they're very like stereotypical,
Mm,
like and it's kind of annoying how the main character is like your stereotypical like scientist who doesn't know how to relate, and like I think I'm still engaged with the story, but it all just seems very simplistic, and it seems like I don't know, it's not very nuanced. It's not very like, fresh. It's just kind of like your archetypes of like what you would think would be in the 50s, and I don't know. Like I'm interested to see where it goes, but I don't know. It's not very deep so far.
mm.
It's not very deep for the themes that it's bringing up.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think because they advertise it as like a comedy,
Mm.
but it's not that funny.
It's
So
probably like that nerdy, dry humor.
it's,
But I feel like I'm pretty
depressing.
nerdy.
It's like depressing.
I think I read that it's being developed into a series starring Brie Larson,
hmm,
which I don't know, maybe I don't know. Maybe it might be better. I don't know. This seems like something that I don't know, maybe they could try again and do a better job.
mhm.
I
Oh,
wonder.
that's what I was gonna say. That's the one
Oh,
with
go ahead, Judith.
Captain Marvel. No, I just wanted to know who Brie Larson was. I know her
Captain
face. I just
Marvel.
don't know. Yeah. I looked it up. That's the person I was thinking of, but
Mm.
I don't know.
Does anyone think there's going to be like a point of more happiness for Elizabeth throughout the book? Because, we know she's going to end up in TV eventually, but the daughter at the beginning was describing her as like not being super happy, like, oh, look what happened to mom,
Mhm.
And so I just feel like I'm interested to see what plays out too, but I feel like the tone will still stay kind of like sad and maybe like a little depressing.
I think it's just she's so lonely and
Mhm.
is stubborn. When I'm not one to ask for help, but come on. Like everyone is like, no, no, no. And I get it, she's not into the rowing, that's fine, but
Mhm.
it's like she's not really helping herself in any way. She's like, if she could just stay in her home and do nothing, I can see her doing that. Just like, he's like, oh, my child, go ahead, do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I feel like I worry that it's going to be really predictable, and it's just going to be like Elizabeth learns how to stand up for herself and get respect, and the daughter learns to be more friendly with and more social, and like I worry that that's where it's going, and that's not very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I would hope it would go to a more interesting place, but so far it's not, other than like, the twist that Calvin dies, like it's not really surprising me too much with very much. It's not like, I don't know. It's not even, again, like we said, it's not very profound. It's not very deep. It's just kind of like, these people in the 50s were really
women.
really sexist
Yeah.
and everything was difficult and they didn't get science. It's like, okay, everyone was like that. And if you're gonna
Yeah.
say that, like, have something more interesting to say.
Do we think she's gonna do something with Calvin's research now that she has it?
Maybe. I mean, so far it seems like nothing's happening without a reason. So
Mm-hmm.
I also
I
feel
actually
like
don't hate the dog though. I kind of like the dog. That's like the one part I like.
It's different.
I was gonna say, I feel like in the beginning they were talking about like the daughter, and I get it, they're bringing back in the daughter, but
Mm.
I find it interesting the way they introduced it, just because the whole time I'm like, okay, where's the daughter? Where's the daughter? And now we're
Mhm.
getting the daughter, but it's been mostly her story, and then they were talking about cooking, and I'm like, where's the cooking? I was looking forward to that, and she's kind of doing it with the coffee and stuff, but I'm like, I don't know. They hinted at so much, and I'm like, where is it?
Like it should have been a
Maybe it's in
stronger
the other
theme.
half,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still kind of like, why give me that big chunk in the, like it could have been shortened to give me more of what they initially mentioned.
Makes sense.
Yeah, normally, and it doesn't have to be normally, but like whenever you have books about like cooking or about cooks or chefs or something, it's very
Mhm.
like visceral, them describing like the food and how they prepare the food and the feelings and all that. So I feel like that's a wasted opportunity to just like talk about the food so like matter of factly without like going into, I don't know, more about the prep or how she comes up with it or
Yeah, because I feel like I was looking over like what is it, the little intro of the book we read each time right before we grab the book. I forget what that's called. A little, not even a summary.
The synopsis.
And they focus on that, and I know that we got the synopsis, and we got a little bit in the beginning saying that she does that
Mhm.
like cooking show and all that stuff, and I know she's not happy or whatever, but I don't know, there's something missing for me.
Yeah, I wonder what will happen because I do feel like it's gonna end up like we're gonna read about how she gets into it and we kind of already know, but it's gonna be like a repeat. But will there be like happiness or a resolution, or will
Mhm.
she still be kind of like a little bit jaded and just solitary? How does the daughter play in? So I have some things like I'm curious about, but I feel like I like the first section more than this section. And I
Mhm.
think maybe because a lot of bad things were happening like for the character in the second section versus like the first one was a little bit happier as well.
Yeah, I think the depressing second section is what may have caused me to fall asleep and not be as intrigued or into it as I would have wanted to.
One part that I thought was weird too was the journalist that kind of like wrote that Calvin like wasn't really nice at all. And then after he wrote something good about the dog, that was kind of weird to me.
Mhm.
do we all think that the old man, the rich old man, is related to them?
I'm gonna say yeah.
They'll meet and he will save them all with his
Maybe
Mhm.
he's the grandpa,
yeah.
Which goes against
the theme.
the theme.
The other thing that was bothering me on that note was like, oh, like I think there was a line that said like if she didn't have the house that Calvin would put in her name, like she'd be screwed. And I'm like, this is terrible. This is terrible. And then how the other guy keeps coming to her house for tips, for the science, and I'm just like, that's really irritating.
I also feel like she knew she was pregnant pretty early on, right? I mean, not as early as you could, but it seemed like she got late prenatal care. Like she was just holding off, and I'm like, you're a smart person. Why?
I think
And
she
maybe
was
the
trying.
whole
I would think she was hoping to like it would like miscarry because she said she
That's what
was.
she
What
said.
is it? She
Mhm.
was. What was it like rowing the machine?
Yeah, she thought it
Yeah.
was gonna make her miscarry, but it actually made her
Mhm.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I feel like I get it, but like I don't know.
The scientific part of her maybe would have like been like, oh, I know exactly what to do to like make sure this baby is like healthy. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm not saying that she would know how to
Do you think
undo it, but that went dark.
maybe she felt she couldn't afford like early prenatal care too, and she was just like, okay, this should be like good enough, and okay, now I'm gonna, have the baby, because she said she went like with a natural childbirth because she couldn't afford
Mhm.
the medicine to numb you.
Yeah, that's true.
I bet it was maybe a combination of both.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm not like bored. But I'm not liking the book. Like I'm still interested to see what's gonna happen, but I'm just like not loving like the themes and the way the characters are being written and but yeah, I'm
feel-
not like bored, so I guess that's a good sign.
I feel like I have more characters I don't like than characters I do like. It's, I get it. It's like it's the old times, and that mentality is obviously, traditional, and we don't think that way now. So
That's
there's
hard to
that.
understand. I mean, in a
Yeah.
way, it's good for Women's History Month. Definitely this pick to see like how it
Mhm.
was before. It's definitely doing a good job of illustrating that. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely gonna have to be an encounter with the investor, especially because the Donati guy was stressing out about like, okay, there's no results. We said that it's Mr. Zott and she's not here, so. But I feel like it's sketch that they even took the money if they weren't going to be like, straight up about it.
I do kind of like the title of each chapter. It's like, ooh, what does this mean? Ooh.
Mhm.
Like for the one we started this section, what was it, like Calvin's gift or something? And then we're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a baby. And then you know how they showed the ring first? I was like,
Mhm.
oh, it was a ring the whole time. In my mind, I'm like, she's gonna say she was already like engaged with him, and maybe there'll be more like they won't be as mean saying like, oh, we need a family member or brother or someone to claim these things.
Yeah,
But then he's like, oh yeah, she's pregnant. I was like, oh, okay, we did mention that.
that's the gift.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I'm just flipping through it, and one of the chapter 21's initials EZ.
Mhm.
Do we think that, or do you guys think that? Do you all think that like they made it easy on purpose, like to kind of be like mean, like you're easy, Because
Mm.
before her coat said EZOT, and now it just says EZ. But I didn't know if I was like looking into it too much. Because that'd be like a way to make fun of her too, especially since she's like in a lower position.
I thought
all
that
thought-
too when I
all
saw
thought-
it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought they were doing that to make fun of her.
Yeah, they're all just bullies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Like she's going through it, and then they're just like one person is nice to her. Okay, two.
And I think that's what makes it like not that interesting because everyone's
Mhm.
just like a cardboard villain
Mhm.
except
Mhm.
except the you know, the what's her name, Mrs. Frask, that
Yeah.
like helps her in the end,
But
but
initially
was like
not.
so evil at
Yeah.
the beginning, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
really, does no one have like any layers? Like everyone is just like
Mean.
a hateful I'm sure everyone was ignorant back then, but I just don't think that it's like an inherent thing. It's like the system that makes you feel that way. And
Right.
like, does no one have any curiosity about it at all, and even to like explore as a character? I don't know.
Yeah.
It annoys me.
I agree with you. I was saying before you joined that Frask, like I'm glad she was helping a little bit towards the end, but I feel like it's not genuine because she's only doing it because she also is dissed. You know, she's getting fired for losing weight, and she was so hateful towards Elizabeth before. So she's helping because she's like mad, but not because she like actually, you know, was like, oh, let me be kind to this person who needs help.
I can't remember all the characters, but was there a dog in the Unsinkable Greta James? Or a cat? There's a
No,
cat. No?
I don't remember.
maybe at the end she had a cat, but not on the ship.
Okay. Oh wait, no, maybe it's the Midnight Library. Is it?
Yes, there was a cat in the Midnight
There was a
Library.
critter, yeah.
This book reminds
One
me.
that
I kept
dies.
thinking. What was that?
That gets hit, right? The one that gets hit.
I think so. This is giving me so much vibes of like that book, and I thought it was the Unsinkable Greta, but it's not because that one's in a ship.
Mm.
And it's the Midnight Library, and I don't know if it's because of she ends up going to a library or trying to take her daughter, right? Oh no, not the daughter.
It's a
Mhm.
similar kind of writing style, except that book had, I feel
I
like,
can
had
forget.
more to say.
Yeah,
The tone is
like
similar.
that one. It was depressing, but in a different like,
Self-help way.
yeah. I was like, why does it click? It does seem like it kind of parallels.
Mm-hmm. I can see it, yeah.
It's like a quirky, sad, happy.
Mhm.
Yeah, there must be something that happens.
That everyone
How is
loves.
Yeah, how is this book of the year? And then I don't know. I can't imagine like I can't imagine a guy liking this book. It
Guys
seems
like
like
these
a lot
books?
of well, I mean if it's book of the year at Barnes and Noble,
Oh,
you think
I see. Yeah.
I don't know. I just can't
Maybe a
imagine.
guy would like it if he just learned about what like sexism is. He's like, I had no idea. I had no
Yeah,
idea
he's like,
there
wow,
was
this is brand
That
new
was funny.
information. I wonder if there will be some girl power movement with Frask, or if that was her only role, was to give her Calvin stuff. And then if so, will anything come out of his stuff? Will she find the research or something?
Hmm. I hope she does do something with the research. I feel like that would be a good way to show like she, you know, can to prove herself to others. Not that she has to, but I think it would show them for sure, you know. And maybe it could be a way to help her with her income before she goes to the TV show. I don't know.
Maybe the mood of it all does change. I just keep reading the synopsis and it's like laugh out loud funny, and I'm like, no, it's not. They're like vibrant, a vibrant protagonist and the dazzling cast of the supporting characters, and I'm like, not really.
There's
Like, I don't know. I feel like it's
yeah.
very
It doesn't match what we were interpreting so far.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it just switches or whoever wrote this was on crack.
That's so interesting. Yeah, because since she wants to be a scientist, I cannot imagine her being happy in the cooking show, you know?
Yeah, and
And yeah, go
maybe
ahead.
she is happier in the like at the beginning of the cooking show because you know you're getting money or she's getting because it says she's getting a following and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
maybe it does end up happy in that moment and then it goes downhill.
Mm.
We end up in the beginning of the story, but
Yeah, the
Okay.
supporting cast, I feel like the guy who puts her on the TV show seems to like her and see that she's awesome, but we know very little about him too. So maybe he's the character that becomes bigger since he's divorced too, and his wife is in New York. But maybe he just has the role of like helping her like find a niche in the TV industry.
I'm reading reviews. They said the second half, there's many hilarious parts.
okay. Okay.
Maybe
We have
when
set
she
the bar high then. It's funny.
People are like, sorry, I don't get the hype. Oh. Hmm. So page 6. think oh, that's not right. I'm trying to separate the pages, but I think we read less in one of them.
I think it was less in the second one,
Yeah.
maybe.
So it'll be 10 something. Um 23 to 32. Don't read 32.
Got it.
So 23 to 31. Let's see if I got
It's so funny. Like where we ended this time was exactly how far I read on my own. So now I'll be reading along.
Maybe it does switch.
Yeah, we'll see.
And you were
Wait, Julie,
just
so
like,
you haven't read the whole book yet, right? You just started?
No, well, I mean, I started it months ago, but it's been hard to get through. I was
It's-
reading it and when we were on our way to Cabo New Year's Eve.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know
so
if that's when I started it. I think I started even before then.
Mm.
And then I was kind of picking it up again, but then I think I was kind of reading it when it was pitched. So I'm like, okay, I'll stop reading.
I mean, it's different. I'm not gonna say I hate it. I did say that in the beginning. I did say I hated it.
I'm still
But it's
interested.
sleep.
Mm-hmm. It's
I don't
just
think it's that
different.
bad.
It's not. I mean, I do like to read it. It's just me. I don't know.
I'm interested to see if it actually surprises me or if it's gonna go down a road where I'm going to be disappointed.
You're just like, great. I knew it.
Yeah. I just
Good.
feel like it's gonna be very cliche. I don't think it's gonna be in like something that's actually like engaging or interesting. But I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Nothing like finding out that Julie was that was her name, right? Julie, the daughter and Daisy Jones. That she was the one interviewing.
Mm,
That
Oh,
to me
yeah.
was like, Oh my god.
I mean, that's true. It's a hard book to follow up. Yeah.
No, I know. But like I feel like we might not get that. I hope we do get something like that. Maybe I'll
feel like she's gonna become the female Bill Nye because she'll have like her cooking
Mm.
show, and
That'd
then
be
they'll
good.
be like, we need someone to educate these children. And so she's just gonna be
I think she's gonna end up a hero and be like, "What? Oh my god, they like me!" And I'm gonna be like, "That was not very interesting."
good night, Crystal. And I
Good
also feel like the
night.
daughter, I mean, like, we didn't get much from her. So let's say if it does go that way, Paola, and it's like, oh, the daughter was like, I don't want to be like my mom. And then she's like, actually, I do want to be. Look at her. Wow.
Maybe Elizabeth becomes like so rich and famous that she's able to like, what is that word? When you like break down walls or the glass ceiling thing, and her daughter, like we're gonna get like a glimpse of the future of like her daughter as a young adult, like, okay, now she wants to do this and she's like more free of, things, but I still feel like that's also cliche a little bit or a lot. Because the daughter was at the beginning, but I mean, we know she's still a baby right now, but I just feel
Yeah.
like putting her at the beginning makes me think like she's gonna have an important role.
Mm-hmm. We will see.
I'm intrigued.
Up to chapter 31. Don't read 32.
Don't read 32.
32 is called medium rare. I don't know. That's
She must be on the cooking show by that point.
yeah, that's probably could meet.
Hmm.
We'll see. Well,
All right.
nice to see you all. Have a good rest of your week and stay dry.
Be careful with the rain, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
good night.
Bye. Have a good
Night.
night.